Chapter 4. Legal Considerations in Art Investment. In the world of art investment, it's not just about finding the right piece and timing the market. There's a whole other layer of considerations, legal. In today's video, we're diving into the legal aspects of art investment, something every serious investor should know. When you invest in art, you're not just buying an object, you're entering into a world full of contracts, regulations, taxes, and sometimes even legal disputes. Whether you're buying or selling, having a clear understanding of the legal landscape is essential to protect your investment. In this chapter, we'll walk you through contracts and agreements in art transactions, the intricacies of import and export regulations, and the tax implications of buying and selling art. We'll also touch on legal disputes in the art market, how to avoid them, and what to do if you find yourself involved in one. Knowing the legal side of art investment isn't just about staying out of trouble. It's about making smart, informed decisions that will help you safeguard your assets. Stay tuned because the information we're about to cover could save you from costly mistakes. Contracts and agreements in art transactions. Let's start with contracts and agreements in art transactions. When you buy or sell art, you're entering into a legally binding contract. But art transactions are not just about the exchange of money for a piece of art. They often involve complex terms and conditions. It's critical that both parties understand their rights and obligations before entering into any agreement. First off, purchase agreements are one of the most important contracts you'll encounter in the art world. These documents lay out the terms of the sale, such as the price, delivery details, and any warranties regarding the authenticity of the art. It's essential to carefully review every clause in a purchase agreement. For example, the agreement should include a clear description of the artwork, including the artist's name, medium, and provenance. This ensures that both the buyer and seller are on the same page about the specific item being transacted. Next, let's talk about sale contracts. These are typically used when you're selling art. Sale contracts can be more complicated than purchase agreements, especially if the art is being sold through a gallery or auction house. These contracts may include commission fees, marketing terms, and any additional fees related to shipping or storage. One key consideration here is the right of resale. Some artists or their estates may hold a right of resale, which means that they can claim a percentage of the proceeds if the artwork is resold at a higher price. This clause is common in European countries, but it's important to check if this applies to the art you're investing in. And then there's the issue of dispute resolution. It's always wise to include a clause in your contract outlining how disputes will be handled. Will the matter be settled through arbitration, or will it be subject to litigation? Having a clear plan for resolving disputes can save you time, money, and stress if something goes wrong in the future. Navigating import and export regulations. Next up, let's discuss import and export regulations. When you buy or sell art across borders, you're not just dealing with the art itself. You're also navigating a complex web of international laws and customs regulations. Before you make any purchase, it's important to know the import/export laws of both the country you're buying from and the one you're selling to. These laws are designed to regulate the movement of goods, but they are especially important when dealing with art, as many countries have restrictions on the export of cultural property. For example, in countries like Italy, France, and Mexico, cultural property is protected by national laws, and you may need special permits to export certain artworks. If you're purchasing a piece from a country with strict export regulations, you could find yourself in a legal bind if you don't follow the proper procedure. Without the right documentation, your art purchase could be seized by customs authorities. It's also important to understand the CITES, Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, regulations if your artwork involves materials derived from endangered species, like ivory, tortoiseshell, or certain woods. Many nations have signed the CITES agreement, which restricts the international trade of artworks made from these materials. Another issue to keep in mind is the cultural heritage protection laws in countries like Egypt and Peru. These laws make it illegal to remove certain artifacts or art objects from the country without permission. If you unknowingly purchase a piece that violates these laws, you could face serious consequences, including fines or even legal action. The key takeaway here is that when you're buying or selling international art, always work with a specialized attorney or customs expert who understands the import/export laws of the country you're dealing with. This will help you avoid any legal pitfalls and ensure that your investment stays safe. Tax implications of buying and selling art. Now let's talk about the tax implications of buying and selling art. Taxes are often one of the most overlooked aspects of art investment, but they can have a major impact on your returns. When buying art, there's often a sales tax or VAT, value-added tax, that you'll need to pay, especially if you're buying from a gallery or dealer. Depending on the country, the rate can vary significantly, so it's important to know the tax laws of the jurisdiction you're purchasing from. In some cases, tax can be included in the purchase price, but in other situations, it may be added on top of the price, which can make a significant difference in your total investment. When you sell art, you'll likely be subject to capital gains tax. This tax is based on the increase in value of the artwork since the time you purchased it. The tax rate can depend on how long you've owned the art. In many countries, if you've held an artwork for more than a year, it may qualify for a reduced tax rate, but if you sell it within a year, the tax could be higher. The tax treatment of art investments varies widely by country. For example, in the United States, art is typically taxed as a collectible, which can lead to a higher capital gains tax rate of around 28%. On the other hand, in the UK, there are no capital gains taxes on art if the transaction is conducted through a registered dealer. There are also inheritance taxes to consider. If you plan to pass your art collection down to your heirs, be aware that art may be subject to estate or inheritance taxes, which can vary based on the country's laws. Planning ahead can help you minimize the tax burden on your art collection. To navigate the complex world of art taxation, it's advisable to work with a tax professional who specializes in art and collectibles. They can help you understand the specific tax implications based on your country and the type of art you're investing in, ensuring that you make the most tax-efficient decisions. Legal disputes in the art market. Legal disputes in the art market can happen more often than you might think. With the high value of art and the complexities of ownership, the potential for disagreements is significant. One common legal issue involves ownership disputes. Sometimes it's unclear who owns a piece of art, especially when the provenance is ambiguous or not well documented. This can lead to legal battles over the rightful owner of a piece, especially if the artwork is later discovered to have been stolen or misappropriated. Another area of concern is breach of contract. This often occurs when one party fails to fulfill their obligations as outlined in a purchase or sale agreement. For instance, a buyer might fail to pay for the artwork, or a seller might not deliver the piece as promised. These breaches can lead to costly lawsuits and reputational damage. Forgery and misrepresentation are also major concerns in the art world. If an artwork turns out to be a fake or misrepresented in some way, the buyer could have grounds for legal action. This is why authenticity verification and proper due diligence are critical. In some cases, disputes can also arise around the right of resale. If an artwork is resold at a higher price, some artists or estates may claim a percentage of the profits, leading to legal arguments over the distribution of proceeds. How can you avoid these legal issues? Prevention is key. Always ensure that contracts are clear, provenance is well documented, and authenticity is verified. If disputes arise, it's crucial to address them early and work with legal professionals who specialize in art law to help resolve the situation efficiently. Legal disputes in the art market can be costly and time-consuming, so protecting yourself with proper documentation and understanding the potential risks is essential. In conclusion, the legal side of art investment is just as important as the financial side. Whether you're entering into contracts, dealing with import/export regulations, or navigating the complex tax implications, understanding the legal framework is essential to protecting your art investments. We've covered the key legal considerations, from contracts and tax laws to legal disputes. And I hope this gives you the knowledge you need to make smart, informed decisions in the art. The more you know about the legal landscape, the better equipped you'll be to protect your assets and avoid costly mistakes. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth tips and strategies on art investment. Share this video with friends or colleagues who might benefit from these insights, and leave your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.